Well, Errol, I truly appreciate the opportunity of getting to know you a little bit and appreciating what you're up to above all else. Eric Alper and I have worked together for a while, and I've had a chance to interview a number of his clients. But what really popped out to me when he brought up your name and what you were doing with Earl was the fact that I believe it was described as a self-titled album blending R&B, blues, reggae, pop, and rock. And I've got to tell you, I love all those things. I grew up on all those things. Those are also genres, sadly, that have been pillaged in many cases. And
Absolutely.
now that we're living in this new reality, I love the ingredients, and I'm hearing that this is being perceived as a supergroup. Tell me about that. What is this project all about that you're combining so many genres of influence and success in the past to create something new for everyone?
Well, it's just, our own history. Like you say, you love all of that music and you've grown up with it, right? We're here in Canada. We've listened to R&B, we've listened to rock, we've listened to blues, and we've listened to all kinds of music, and we've incorporated that into our life. It's the story of our life. As we've grown, we've moved on to different styles and things like that. I mean, my first concert was Kiss. Okay, so that's where we're going from there. It was like then it was and I was a lover boy to all these other groups, and I just love music, period. And so what we've done really is the members of the band is they've had very, very deep history of all kinds of music. So when we all came together, it was like this encyclopedia of stuff that you could just draw upon. And really the band started with Earl and Donny and they kind of came together, and I was sort of the last peg that came on. And it was kind of funny because I was asked to look into it because Earl might be looking for a singer for his band, and this is through a friend of ours, co-friend Valerie Shearman, and she said, Earl's looking for this singer, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm not sure. And when I listened to the band, I heard the band, I thought, wow, this is really great stuff, like they're really capturing it. And then I went out to a rehearsal, and that was it. I was sold on it, and then we started tweaking things and tightening things up, and then the music really started to come, like it just kind of flowed, and with that, it became kind of a super group because everybody draws on their own talents and their own backgrounds to bring that forward. My R&B background and even before that was reggae, because my band, my dad's band, is where I started as 14 years old in my father's reggae band in Kitchener-Waterloo. And so I even brought that forward into things. Go ahead.
I was going to say that when I see your lineup, right, it's the four of you: Dave Davidson, Donny Hill, Earl Johnson, and Erroll Starr walks in. Effectively, as I said earlier, it's like you guys put together an extraordinary recipe. This chili has a little bit of everything. It has vegetables, it has seasoning, it has mushrooms, and the fact that you're playing with three other musicians that have had exposure to what I would call arguably the best era of music, right? That amazing arena rock 70s kind of Led Zeppelin foundation, which led to big bombastic Black Sabbath and ACD and Steve Miller Band. I mean, you've played now yourself with so many different musicians. It sounds like you finally found that perfect mix to make the kind of album you've always wanted to make.
Absolutely. And you know what? At a drop of a hat, we could turn left and do, drop this song into an R&B feel, or drop this song into a complete blues, and drop the song and make it reggae vibe. It's seriously crazy.
It really is. As a vocalist too, for you, that must be a godsend to have that flexibility, that resiliency in how you bring the music every night.
Yeah, it is. And it's, we're really ready now to get back into writing mode, because we've had some time to, with this album, to really gel and come together, and we performed, and so we're looking forward to getting together again do the next album. And I don't know if it's going to be an album per se, because, things have changed in this industry to a point where singles are king, and you put out a song and you could, ride that for 3 months and things like that. So, but we're excited. We're very excited about our future. So.
And speaking of the industry, you really are, for better and for worse, I suppose, a product of the industry, right? Very early in your age as an organic musician, you won a Juno at a time when it really meant something to be a trailblazer, which you were perceived as. So it seems to me that as your professional career has evolved, in some respects, it's also liberated you, because it's made you understand the areas you can transcend, the kind of genres you can explore, as opposed to being, stereotyped as a certain kind of musician. It's got to be the worst feeling in the world when somebody refers to you as that reggae guy, or that punk rock guy, or that classical guy. That's not something I think you'd want to be called.
Yeah, it is a bit of a double-edged sword, because in some respect, you have your staunch reggae people, right? And you have your staunch R&B people, and you have your staunch rock and roll people. And sometimes they don't like to mix their wet with their dries. So you have both sides. But in our minds, we're looking at people that have open minds and want to explore ideas that they maybe never thought of before, or how did that sound, and what would that sound like? And so that's the kind of thing that we're looking for as well, and that's how we play ourselves as well. Donny Davidson, or Dave Davidson, he's in a Celtic band too, right? And they're fantastic. And for that to come, I'd love to bring some of that flavor over here a little bit too, right? So we're all looking at all different ways of expanding things, as opposed to shrinking things into this little pinhole like we're seeing right now. You're either over here like this, or you're over here like this, right?
Well, and then of course there's the other alternative, that you're an AI. I mean, the fact is, music right now is at a stage where a lot of manipulation and bending is taking place to kind of put things in certain corners. And I like the way you characterize that. You never want to be pigeonholed. You never want to be stuck in a certain dimension. And I think we're seeing more and more musicians and entertainers transcending that, right? It's like their little metaverse. It's like, yeah, you might know me for the things you remember, but I'm going to show you things you've never seen before.
Absolutely. Like, back in the day, it was mainly the record labels wanting you to be a certain thing, because they were dealing with marketing. And, in marketing, you got to have your idea of what your demographic is, and so on and so forth, so that you can cater to it, and then, do your thing. But the independent artists sort of busted that wide open, and they started making sales, and the record labels are looking over there going, well, how did that happen? And they're trying to figure that part out. But the thing is, it's going to happen, because people grow up, and somebody's grow up listening to R&B, and then they go to school and they are playing rock and roll. So they're going to combine those things later on in life. It's just the natural way of things, And now here we are with AI breathing down our neck, saying, you can create with this, and you can use it as a tool. It's there, it's prevalent, it's all over the place, and I've looked into it. My own company looks into it for marketing and things like that. But we still like to grab the guitar, strum away, and come up with melodic ideas and things like that. But at the same time, you could send that over to an AI and it could help you out. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. I remember when drum machines came along, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's like, but then the drummers were like, hey, what's happening? And some of them gravitated to it and made it part of their arsenal, right? Which was like amazing. And I knew some great ones who did that. Randy Cook, just incredible drummer, but he has that stuff down. Like he could come in there and anyhow, that's just me ranting.
No, on the contrary, I think it's you pointing out the fact that if you look at modern musicians today, especially watch the ones with all those views on social media, you'll notice that first and foremost, they're very technical and very precise and fast. You know, the drummers want to be fast. The faster you are, the better. But there's
Mhm.
also an extraordinary soul to the way that they're interpreting the experience with learning about a John Bonham, a Ginger Baker, someone more
Right.
recent, you know, a Neil Peart, for example, and so you get that kind of unique flavor. And I think for you, it sounds like music right now has become a real catharsis. It's like, can you imagine your 9 to 5 existence right now? You're up in the morning and go to sleep at night without music. I think for you, it sounds like more than ever, it is your ointment. It is what keeps you going. It's your tonic.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's it's like breathing, you just can't, if you stop, you're dead. So you just got to keep going with it. And again, because I like different genres and I write in different genres, it's like, it's being able to sample all the things of life, right? You're able to do that. And that's what's really great about this band, is that we can at any time just sample any part of the world that we want to,
Almost
right?
like opening a portal, almost like opening a portal for your audience,
Absolutely.
where no two songs leave them in the same place, do they?
Exactly. You listen to a song like Save the World, which is sort of a island flavor in the background with, got a rock guitar and this going. It's just like, wow, what the heck is that? That's amazing. And then you get into like our latest release, which is, to me, it's just traditional blues. This is just a blues love tune, like True Love, and singing it out. We just released that for Valentine's Day, and it's got a lot of action. So we're really happy about that.
You know, it's interesting that you brought up Kiss earlier, because recently in the news there was some criticism by Gene Simmons about the fact that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should be about rock and roll. And yet, if you really think about what you and I are talking about, music is music. Whether or
It
not
is.
it's an interpretation of reggae, rap, funk, punk, at the end of the day, it all belongs there. Why do you think there's that sentiment still that the rock is only meant for certain kinds of music? Isn't that kind of counterintuitive to what music represents?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's just more ego than anything, and you can't. What are you going to do with that? Really, you just let it be what it is. Gene's notorious for being crazy like that, so I wouldn't expect anything less.
What a label to have, huh? Can you imagine? He's carried that pretty much his entire career. If you find the roasts of him online on YouTube, they're absolutely priceless.
Are they?
Oh yeah, it's his reaction. It's humble pie, right? It's eating crow and being
Right.
showing humility, and it's a hard thing to do for certain musicians.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
That's your two due tonight, is to check out the Gene Simmons roasts on YouTube. Um, Something
Wow.
I read about that I was intrigued by is it seems to me that you and Earl have quite a powerful friendship that is not just based on your shared love of music, but certainly your appreciation for the Indigenous community and what the Native Canadian population represents. Why don't you let my audience maybe understand what I'm talking about? Because this is something I think you could probably best articulate.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I've been adopted by a Métis Nation here in Canada, and I've been part of their administration group for a while now, and of course even Donny, he's a member of a Mohawk member, and yeah, Earl's what is he? Oh, jeez.
I believe the official, I'm searching for my glasses here, but I believe officially he's a proud member, and correct me if I'm wrong, I hope I'm not mispronouncing the name, the Tuscarora Six
Tuscarora.
Nations.
He's a
That's it.
Tuscarora Six Nations.
Tuscarora Six Nations in it looks like
Ashwegan.
Oshwegan, Ontario.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, and we really come from that. How I can say, it's a very, very natural and organic way of doing things, and the Indigenous side has been, for me, has been that way. Being born in Jamaica, part of the Arawak Indian nation down there, and this is all Turtle Island, right from Caribbean right up to Vancouver. This whole place is Turtle Island, and it's sacred. It's a sacred place, and so we do carry that forward in the way that we do things. We honor that, and we honor the Indigenous nations that we, whatever land we're playing on, we do land recognition. So it's good. It's all good.
It seems like it makes performing extra special, I suppose, in that your whole reason there is not to just project music and do what an average musician would do, which is just put on the best possible performance, but you're hoping to educate a little bit. It sounds to me like you want people to have an awareness for why it's important to understand the history of your land, to understand the full perspective at a time when everyone's just pretty much divided and tribalism is rife. It seems like this collaboration is the antidote against that kind of any kind of misanthropic mindset or racism. It's quite the opposite. It's a liberation of the soul.
And we do want to show people, that there is unity even in diversity. Like, we're from different backgrounds, but you know what? We come together as one unit, and we speak as one voice. And that's really the Indigenous way, is to come and be one, no matter what. I mean, this is what powwows are about. All the nations come together under one thing, and they have an amazing time showing each other what's new, trading with them, and loving life and loving the earth while enjoying each other's company. There could be diversity, complete diversity there, but they recognize the unity, that they are one with themselves, one with each other, and one with nature. Yeah.
Well, and the term that you seem to be associated with quite a bit is A Peace Troubadour, which I absolutely adore, because it invokes this kind of notion that if you take the time to listen to someone like you talk about his adventures and stories, talk about the hunt, as they say, of life, you learn something. What can a person expect really to come to your show now and see the four of you do your thing? What's the one main aspect of that show you want them to kind of hold as an indelible mark after seeing you?
Well, really because the world is crazy out there, right? Really to say, listen, we know the world's crazy, but in this 2-hour spot, just let it go, okay? And feel free to enjoy the music as it comes through you as an energetic format. Allow it to come and lift you out of that place of, geopolitical, yada, 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 you know what I'm talking about, right? And just have yourself a great time just for that, either 2-hour time, just for that time. And when you leave, you'll be a different person. You'll be a different person. You look at things differently, even if it's only for a day or so, but you will. You look at things differently. And that's really the choices. I mean, being at peace means, we want peace everywhere, but you got to have peace within first, or you cannot have peace anywhere. Okay, so we're trying to get, if anything, we try to put on a great time, a good experience. The songs speak for themselves. They're about love. They're about togetherness. And we try to weave a little bit of story in between the songs about what's going on, but we leave this outdoor stuff out of the way. We're really about what's going on in the heart and how we're dealing with each other as people, and how we can come together. What are our similarities that we can rejoice in, right? And do it that way, and allow them to feel that for that time period, and hear those songs, so True Love, Save the World, and the songs like that. That's going to help them to say, okay, yes, there's hope in all of this. There's hope, right? There's people that want peace. And we've been made peace ambassadors, actually, for Canada, through an organization called Pace Institute which is a UN organization. They recognize us as peace troubadours and asked us to be their peace ambassadors for Canada. So that's very, very nice.
It also sounds like exactly what the world needs. It needs more countries who are able to identify the musical inspiration and talents and make sure that they are the champions, going out there and setting the example, right? You yourself, you know, growing up as a kid, had a father who was a reggae musician, so the influence was there early, and it always astounds me how so many of these individuals you learn who get inspired by reggae, it's like the prerequisite is peace and love. Out of all the genres out there that can be categorized differently, I think reggae holds such a soft space in my heart because I recognize it and associate it with only good things, transformative things, therapeutic things,
Correct.
Serenity and peace of mind. How much did that have an influence on you, having your father essentially be the beacon to espouse that?
Huge. I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, when I was 14, I got my first guitar and I started playing that, and from there, I didn't really look back at, you know, what was my life goal. Well, my life goal was play music and make people happy, right? And so, yeah, I played all kinds of, you know, from R&B to reggae. But when I got into high school, it was like, okay, my buddies were like, let's watch some Kiss, let's look at Led Zeppelin, there's Queen, and all of that stuff was just, you know, ear candy for me. I was just like, let's soaking it up. And then when we start writing, these influences start popping out, right? And even my vocals start to sound, okay, sounds like Robert Plant today or whatever, right? So it's one of those things. It's really fun. That's what happened. So it was good.
Well, it sounds like we have a mutual appreciation and affinity for Led Zeppelin. So I'm going to ask you what you think with regards to what would have they become if, let's say, in an alternate universe, John Bonham, amazingly enough, had lived on.
Oh.
And they had stayed intact, which there's no reason to think they wouldn't, for whatever infighting, and there was some infighting, and the band had its problems towards the end, obviously. But fans really like to theorize what would happen in the 80s. I've always been the opinion that I don't think it would have been a great thing necessarily. I wasn't too pleased with them having to embrace keyboards. But what do you think, as someone who admired them as a young man and a teenager, and seeing what they set as a precedent for rock music?
Well, you know, Led Zeppelin was they were a blues band, right? Let's put it there. But they had this slinky kind of way of doing it that, you know, just like it made people's head turn. What? And I think they would have kept going had, you know, John Bonham was still alive. They would have kept going and produced more songs that would have been epic. That's my opinion on that. I mean, yeah, I mean, their stuff was just really great to perform, to learn, and to perform it. And you could see on the people's faces if you did it and you did a good job of it, the applause and everything else was right there, because people would appreciate that you would take the time to learn and there were some hard stuff in there, you know. They were not fly by night. There were some serious musicianship going on, and you had to really know your stuff to really reproduce that on a live scale. So and we're really, really happy to be able to do that.
And thrilling to know that you're collaborating with the kind of musicians that allow you to do all those things. They allow you to be very transformative in the way that you present the narrative.
Yeah, like Earl, I mean, he came out of the same, you know, school of that, and playing, you know, with Moxie, and they were like a Led Zeppelin thing. You know, actually my first band played Moxie. We were in high school, and Moxie's playing. We're like, yeah, let's play some of that. That's really good stuff.
and Moxie were so ahead of their time, truly, because they were in that Zeppelin-esque era, but without any of the pretentiousness that a lot of bands were trying to duplicate. Some would argue, ironically, Rush, you know, their first album was nothing more than an effort to kind of be like paying an homage and channeling that amazing pixie dust. And it's funny because few people remember that Led Zeppelin themselves were all just fundamentally a blues band, right? The fact that Fleetwood Mac was a blues band, that there was there's always this magical transformation that happens.
Right.
And sometimes it's just a matter of time. And that's why when it gets interrupted by losing a band member or seeing a band fold, it is a great loss to the musical community. No question.
It is. It is. And it's devastating to see that happen. Because, you know, you'd want to see them continue because of the music that they would produce was so great. And you don't want that to stop, right?
Well, Errol, this is why I'm so thrilled that you're active and that you understand those kinds of variables, because what you're doing right now with Earl and your band, I think, is just wonderful. I think it's an opportunity for you to not only find your own personal catharsis when you need it, to channel it, but to actually have other new people being introduced to your music to appreciate the origin story behind it. Because if they trace it back, it's extraordinary what kind of a shared history you have with your bandmates. You must be really proud of that.
Yeah, we're incredibly proud of it, and we want to see it keep going. And you know, just invite even the younger audience to learn and to know more about this type of stuff. I mean, you know, the pop music of today is great, but it somehow does not reach the depth and soul that what we're used to hearing some of the musicians come up with and put out as their offering. So yeah, I hope they do come along and hear our stuff and really like it, and yeah, have an open mind. That's the main thing, you know. Don't go with the pigeonhole, like you say. Wide open spaces. That's what we love.
Absolutely. Continued success to you and your bandmates, Errol, and I hope that this spring and summer brings you great joy in not just entertaining others and giving them a reason to feel good, but you yourself staying healthy and positive throughout it all.
Well, thank you so much, and yourself. Thank you. Blessings.
Just rising in